Good evening, everybody. This is me, Havel, here with an event or a presentation on my research topic, that is unmasking cybersecurity threats, a comprehensive analysis on diverse scams and mitigation strategies. So before going on to the more deep into the presentation, I would like to introduce to you someone, Pico. Hello, Pico. Say hi. Yeah. So Pico here loves to eat knowledge, alright, and he will be there with us throughout this presentation. So before going on to the more, I would like to introduce myself and my mentor, Mr. Vikas Gopinath, who is an expert in forensic and cyber security department, and also myself, Muhammad Habil Kundil. Now, Pico, it's time for you to leave. You have to listen to the class. Yeah. So now we are on to the stage of introduction. So what is my research about, and why? How do I think of introducing this research with? Firstly, my research talks about the psychological factors that affects the susceptibility to the scams by the victims. And secondly, I will talk about how AI could be leveraged, and also the cyber scams and their analysis and their mitigation strategies and stuff like that. So I would just give an introduction to what like the cyber scams and their mitigation strategies real quick. Sorry. I'll be talking about these things in more detail in my project thesis. Alright. So, types of scams. What are the types of scams? Let's have a look. There are 4 types of scams that I've mentioned here, but I will be discussing about it deep in my project thesis. Okay. First one is phishing. We might have heard about phishing, but we will discuss more about it and how it's done in my thesis. And then employment scams, and then bank scams, and also romance scams. Now, I will discuss some mitigation strategies that could help you. Let's get the concave lens ready and go through the mitigation strategies. Firstly, we have user education, which is the most important part when it comes to mitigation of the cyber scams. And then we have using of antivirus software to prevent the scams from happening, or to prevent any cyber attacks from happening to a computer. Another one is trust. We have to be careful when we come to trusting the emails or whatever it is. We should trust the software, or we should trust whatever we are downloading completely before we install it. Another one, two-factor authentication, which is now commonly available, but only few use them, and this is another mitigation strategies. All these would be thoroughly examined in my explained in my project thesis. Now, coming on to the article, I've been talking about the introduction, and now it's the mathematical part. So Pico is confused here. I will be discussing about a mathematical tool. It's a basic grade 10 tool. I will be explaining it more in my research, in my article. Yeah. So now I will talk about the methodologies that I've used for the research. Firstly, I have the survey, which I've conducted to like basic financial literacy level to higher top tier levels, and then I have interviewed with a bank for the purpose of understanding the foundational knowledge when it comes to how they protect the bank security. And then I have interviewed an expert, which is my mentor, Mr. Vikas Gopinath. He is really good at this kind of cyber security and forensic department. Now, I have done a lot of review of literature. Out of those, 2 caught my eyes. One of it is Predicting Susceptibility to Cyber Fraud Victimhood by Witty, which is done in 2019. And another one is a thorough examination of financial crime and fraud by Hasham, Joshi and Mickelson, which was done in 2019. Alright. So now, to the final part, that is results and discussions of my research article. Let's get into it. Now, what I found from my interview with expert. First one is GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation released by the European Union, which is a law regulation which would help to prevent the cyber frauds from happening. And then lack of uniformity across borders. This was also there. This prevents a lot of cyber scams from not happening. Like, for example, in India, many scams are being happening. For example, in India, scam call centers are built up to scam the European people, and then the European people can't prevent it because the border refuses their prevention methods. See, that's another reason, another thing I got to know from the interview. Then I got to know about the NASA being hacked, in which the Jonathan James, a 15-year-old, hacked the NASA, and he got many confidential data from it. Another thing I got from the interview with expert is that user education. User education plays a pivotal role in cybersecurity. Without user education, I don't think we can avoid scams at all. And I will be talking that deeper in my research article, and I will prove it how it happens. Another thing is that AI and ML, as you all know, that was my objective of my research, and that is to know how AI can be leveraged such that it can be used as is used for the cyber security and against cyber security. Now, I did an interview with the bank, and these are all what I got. So when I got to interview with the bank, I have got many information, but these are just the outline of what I got. Collaboration. Bank collaborate with law regulatories to make sure all the laws are imposed in their company, in their bank, such that no law malfunctions happen in their institution. And then comes security, as I've discussed before. Two-factor authentication and real-time fraud detection systems have been implemented in the field of banking to prevent scams from happening, and it is very strict when it comes to the banking sector. Out of this, there was one more point, that is penetration testing or pen testing. That was also used by these banks to better their security system. That is, they hire some hackers to try to hack their banks ethically, and if they can do it, they find a mitigation for that. That is what penetration testing is used for. And pen testing softwares are now available, and it's there in the internet. That is pen testing. You can use it to know your data breaches and everything like that. Now I am going to explain about the survey that I've done before, and I have classified the data into a grouped frequency distribution, and I am trying to find the mean of the data, which is a simple basic mathematical tool used in grade 10. So I just grouped the value of lowest items and then a frequency, and then the midpoint of it. We just find the midpoint by adding the lower limit and upper limit, and then divide it by 2. And then I multiply the frequency with the midpoint, and I got a value. And then I just made a table with it, and now I will explain it to you, the equation, that is sigma fx by sigma f, where I sum all of the fx values, and then I divide it by the total frequency. So by doing this, we will get 17,280.95 Indian rupees, because all the values were in Indian rupees. So this is what we get. So now that's how we get it. Yeah, now Pico understand it as well. Now let's draw conclusions from it ourselves. Yeah, there are 21 people attended the survey, and all 21 of them was of, as I've said, from low or basic foundation, or had a basic foundation of financial literacy, and 2 top tier financial literacy, and all 21 of them, which I shared the link and which was randomly selected, all of them had a scam happen in their life. And now that is why my topic is still relevant in these days, because these people hasn't been educated properly, and since all the 21 people had lost some of my at least 17,280.95 million on average, this is something that has to be dealt with. And that is why, as I told, that's one of the reason why my topic is relevant. Now, before saying, I have another reason for how my topic is relevant in these days, and for explaining that, I'm going back to the aviation principles, like 3 golden aviation principles. Let's go through it. In aviation, when an emergency happens, we have a key principle, that is aviate, navigate and communicate. I'm going to link it with how my topic is relevant for now. Aviate means actually to fly the plane when we are in an emergency situation, and that I am linking it with doing the research. And navigate, I'm going to link it with how the topic is globally performing, and communicate is to make the people aware about these scams. Alright, out of these 3, aviate and navigate has been properly done, but communicate has still been lacking. Some deficiencies are there when it comes to the communicate point. So my research aims to totally comprehend these values and these key principles to the general population. Yeah. So that's all about it, and you can access my article there. Yeah. Now I'm up for any questions.